Hi everybody, it's Stephen Jones. Now just to talk about the hats that we're seeing in front of us during this deconstruction of the exhibition at the gallery at the Bard Graduate Centre. You will see this first hat is the shoe hat, which was designed by Schiaparelli in 1939. Funny enough, right at the top there you will see Bill Cunningham's shoe hat that he made for Anna Piaggi in the early 1980s. Now the shoe hat was sort of extraordinary. Salvador Dali took a photograph of his wife Gala with her shoe on her head, and then Schiaparelli saw this and wanted him to design a hat based on this idea. So this is the hat that she came up with. There are only two hats like this in the world. One is at the Met, currently in the exhibition at the moment there, and the other one is this one, and this was Gala Dali's personal hat. Now, this hat, which is called Anna P, was created for Anna Piaggi. It was supposed to be the meeting of two worlds. It was one thing which was the classicism of the John Bull shape, which is such a British shape and such a signifier of the British Empire, really. But I made it all in what I considered to be punk ribbons, and these are actually bandages, and using very much the Vivienne Westwood way of looking things, an alternative way. And also it has a cockade at the side, which is a little bit at the side, the edging in of the French Revolution, because it looks a little bit like the headdress and the head trimming that the Marianne of France wore. As you can see, all the little bits there sort of hanging off the edges. But their hats are treated very, very carefully, and each one has a very specific packing system and box for it to be placed in. All the boxes are made from acid-free paper. All the mounts, as you can see, are covered in silk. So when the lid gets put down, there's a little pad which rests on the top of the hat. So when they're in transport from one place to another, they don't shift around at all. This is, for me, one of the most precious hats in the exhibition, this one. This is an 18th century British hat, which is covered in all these polychrome feathers. Of course, this exhibition travelled to the Bard from the Victoria and Albert Museum, and this is the sort of thing that the V&A does best of all. It's an extraordinary sample. When I first saw it, when Oriole Cullen, my co-curator, showed it to me, I thought it was a 1950s coolie hat. I mean, very sort of Dior, I can imagine that, going with a cream spring dress, and I could not believe that it was so old, because the colours are unbelievably intense. You can see it being lowered now into its little silk bed, and it's being put to rest until it opens up in the next venue, which is at the Peabody Essex Museum in Salem. Now, whether it's a hat or whether it's a Michelangelo, all art objects are treated in the same way, and you can see the absolute length and precision with which something is transported. This hat, which is called Rolls Royce, is one of my hats. It's maybe one of my favourite. If anybody ever asked me what is my favourite hat, I'd probably say that one, because it is a top hat, but it's also a rose, and I love the colouring. Here, this is Sophie from the V&A in London, checking for any possible damage. You know, of course, the hat has been under lights for the past 6 months, and things can have changed shape, they can have got marked. But I love the lines of this. This is made on the base of this hat, the inside of this hat, is made on this very traditional material called spatra, which is basically a woven straw. It's not made anymore. But this is the hat, the sort of base that all hats were made on from, say, the 1920s up until the mid-80s. It's black velvet on the outside, and then this pink satin on the inside. And I remember, even though it was a very, very long time ago, I remember the name of that satin on the shade card was Gladioli, and that's partially, that name is why I bought it, and that hat, Rolls Royce, was created.